Hello there guys, and welcome to another Forza Horizon 5 video on my channel. It is now the autumn/storm season of the Forzathon series, which is series 16, where we have no Ford rewards, but we do have a lot of Ford related challenges where we need to use a range of Fords across our garage and across the classes to complete these challenges. And of course in this video I'll be taking you through all of those challenges, giving you tips, tricks and tunes to help you complete them, and I'll be talking you through the rewards, how to complete each of the challenges, and any other tips that I have across the whole of the festival playlist. We'll be completing the whole of the festival playlist together, so if you want to stay to the end I'll greatly appreciate that, and I'd also greatly appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel. I don't say that very often, but it does really help me out. We're on the road to 350 subscribers, so if you could do anything, that'd be massively appreciated. But without any further ado, let's get into the video and check out the rewards for the autumn/storm season. Okay then, so this week's seasonal rewards for the autumn season are the following. For 20 points we have the number 20 MG6 touring car. That's following on from the Lincoln Co. Whatever the hell it was that we got last month or the month before. So we've now got another touring car in the game, which is the touring car version of the MG6 XPOWER that we've got as the series reward, which we'll come back to in a minute. I'm not really sure how good it's going to be. It's probably massively underpowered, but it might be quite cool to check out some of the like race event labs in it. And then for 40 points we have the Ford Ranger Raptor from 2019. It's not a particularly spectacular car, however it's actually quite overpriced in the game, and thus has been featured as a seasonal reward, even though it probably doesn't deserve to be there in terms of the competition. They are this week's seasonal rewards, and there are a total of 60 points available in this season for us to look at. Finally, before we get stuck into the challenges, I would just want to quickly skim over the series rewards that of course we are always working towards in these seasonal videos. So last week, if you completed some of your festival playlists like me, I got 40 points, then you'll be well on your way to getting the seasonal rewards, series rewards. So for 80 points, as I just mentioned, the MG6 XPOWER, just the standard version from the now Chinese owned MG company. And then for 160 points, obviously now it is a tribute to Ken Block, is the Unicorn V2. Very hard to find car. It's expensive, it's massively good, it's a really good car, and thank you to Ken for creating it, because without you we wouldn't have all these spectacular drift and rally cars. So they are the series reward for the Forzathon Series 16 festival playlist. To start off this week's autumn/storm season festival playlist, we are going to be starting off with the Forzathon events. As usual, there's a weekly Forzathon challenge, some daily Forzathon challenges, and then we can spend our Forzathon points that we've earned from Forzathon events and also Horizon Arcade in the Horizon Forzathon shop. So we'll be looking at that very shortly. First up in this section is the Forzathon Weekly Challenge, the Cozzy, and as is per trend now in Forza Horizon 5, this is another recycled Forzathon event. We've had probably 4 or 5 recycle events now in the past month, and this is another one of them. I don't think it's going to get any better. I feel like we're at the stage now, especially after news the other day that a couple of the developers, including Mike Brown and Tom Butcher, have left Playground Games to go to Maverick. It's probably just going to go downhill from now on. I don't think it's going to get much better unless something spectacular happens. But anyway, let's get stuck into it regardless. So for this Forzathon challenge, you'll get yourself 5 points towards the festival playlist, and you'll get yourself 80 or 160 Forzathon points, depending on whether you own the La Casa Soliguera house. That house comes free with VIP, and it gets you double Forzathon points in any Forzathon related event, including Horizon Arcade. For Chapter 1 of this Forzathon Weekly Challenge, you simply need to own and drive the 1992 Ford Escort RS Cosworth, and that will complete the Chapter 90's icon. This car can be purchased from the auto show, and if you want to download my tune that is in the middle of S1 class, then feel free. It is shared under my gamertag Shylo 2017. Otherwise, you can either keep it stock, in which case it'll be a lot slower to complete the challenges, but obviously you'll be doing it purist, or you can create your own tune or download another tune. It really doesn't matter, but it does make your life a lot easier if you pop a tune on your car for the Forzathon events. Once you're in your Escort RS Cosworth, you can move on to Chapter 2. RS is for Rally Sport, which wants you to win 3 dirt trail events. Now, of course, you can use Event Lab blueprints for these. However, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's up to you if you want to waste your time doing them if they happen not to work. So if you are doing that, you'll need to enter the same blueprint event 3 times and make sure it is a trail. Make sure the person that's created it hasn't kind of clickbaited and it turns out that it's a scramble or just kind of another type of racing. Make sure it is a dirt race and make sure it's a dirt trail, not a dirt scramble, so sprint, not circuit. If you're doing it from standard events on the map, filter to dirt racing and then just make sure you pick one of the sprint ones rather than the circuit ones and win 3 of them. You can do the same one 3 times or you can pick 3 different ones. It's completely up to you, but of course make sure you're in the correct car, and of course as usual, difficulty does not matter, so you can lower it to make your life easier in terms of driver tires if you're wanting to. Chapter 3 of this Forzathon weekly challenge is called Hoon Again and wants you to bank a total of 100,000 skill points. Now, because it says a total, this usually means that you can do this in separate skill chains. You don't have to do it all in one, but if you are doing it all in one, you need to get 20,000 by the multiplier of 5. Unless there is a perk in the skill mastery of this car which allows you to take the multiplier up beyond 5. I'm not sure, I haven't checked that one. Otherwise, if you're doing it separately, you'll need to make sure that you get enough skill points across multiple skill chains to get a total of 100,000. And once you have done that, even before you have banked the skill chain, it should pop up to say that the chapter is completed, so you know then that you don't need to carry on with your skill chains. And finally, to wrap up the Forzathon Weekly Challenge, Chapter 4 Wing Commander wants you to earn 9 stars in total from danger signs. Again, that's a total. Obviously, it would be impossible to get 9 stars anyway because the maximum is 3 on any danger sign. However, with it being a total, you don't actually have to get 3 stars every time. If you do though, you'll only have to do danger sign 3 times. If you get less than 3 stars, you'll have to do it more than 3 times until you get a total of 9. If you're doing like 2 stars every time, you don't have to get like 2, 2, 2, 1. You can get like 5 2s. Obviously that would be 10 stars, but it'll only count it as 9. You just need to get at least 9 stars from any danger signs. So to make your life easier, filter the danger signs. Obviously pick one that's appropriate for your tune on your car. So if you've got quite a slow tune, obviously don't pick one on the highway or whatever because it's not going to be able to jump that far. Make it realistic for yourself and just go away at them stars until you got 9 of them. That is the weekly Forzathon challenge, the Cosy completed. So now we can move on to the daily Forzathon challenges. As usual, there are 7 of these and they'll pop up every day at 2:30 PM GMT. So one will pop up every day and each of them lasts for 7 days. Usually they aren't very difficult, like for example the first one, earn 2 stars from Trailblazers any Mustang. Very, very simple, but if for whatever reason you are having any trouble with these as they pop up throughout the week, do not hesitate to contact me in the comments on Xbox or on Discord. My details will be in the description or somewhere on the channel for you to find me to contact me. Otherwise, just let me know in the comments and I'll be more than happy to help you out. There is a chance that one of them might be bugged, so if you think that is the case, then of course let me know, and if I'm having the same problem, and then we might be able to report that and hopefully it'll get sorted. And finally, to wrap up the Forzathon section of this week's festival playlist, we have the Horizon Forzathon shop where you can spend all of your hard-earned Forzathon points. However, this week you probably won't be spending any of them, so you'll be able to save them up, because for 400 points we have the Ford number 25 RTR Mustang. This car is 500,000 credits in the auto show. However, you probably already got it now from wheel spins, gifts, or you probably already bought it at some time, so 400 Forzathon points isn't really worth it, especially if you already own this car. And then for 300 Forzathon points we have the number 2069 Ford Performance Bronco R, 250,000 credits in the auto show. However, it's not a massively special car, it's only C-Class, and the Welcome Pack version is better if you do own the Welcome Pack as part of the Premium Add-ons bundle. So I wouldn't really spend 300 Forzathon points on this. I also probably wouldn't spend 75 Forzathon points on the Lion Thin Watch, because it's just a bit of a waste of time, unless you specifically like to dress up your avatar in the game. And then, to be fair, the only thing that I would be spending my Forzathon points on in this week is the police siren car horn, because who doesn't want a police siren car horn when you can do your police chases, or just to use in general when honking around in the Eliminator, or in playground games, or in free roam. Moving on, we next have the seasonal events section, which contains Horizon Arcade, the Trial, Playground Games, seasonal PR stunts and seasonal championships. Quite a lot to get through in this section this week, so let's crack into it right now. First up in the seasonal event section is the Horizon Arcade minigames, which want you to complete any Horizon Arcade theme, and by that it means you need to complete all 3 rounds of any Horizon Arcade. You'll notice that every 15 minutes on your map, if you filter to multiplayer events, you'll see 2 pink dots or pink radiuses appear on your map, and they are the Horizon Arcades. As I said, 2 of them will pop up every 15 minutes, so you've got a choice, and they range from stuff like Wreckage, Air, Drift, Simon Says, stuff like that. And you just need to go to one of them and complete all 3 rounds. Don't panic though if it's only you that's completing it, because depending on how many players are taking part, the restrictions for each of the rounds will differ between how many people. So if you're doing it on your own, the restrictions will be lower, so you'll be able to get it done easily. When I do them, which is not very often, but when I do them, I'm quite often getting them completed in about half of the time that's allocated. They're very, very easy to do. Just obviously make sure you bring the appropriate car to them, and once you've completed all 3 rounds, you'll get yourself 30 or 60 Forzathon points, again depending if you own the La Casa Solar Gamer house, and you'll also get yourself 3 points towards the festival playlist. Next up in this section of the festival playlist is the Trial, which this week is called Ute the Best. As usual, it'll get you 10 points towards the festival playlist, and the other reward for this week is the Hoonigan F150, again another reference to Ken Block there, another one of his fantastic drift machines, and that is the reward for this week's Trial. Just as a quick note for the Trial, this is a co-op event, meaning that you will need to have Xbox Live Gold or Game Pass, depending on which subscription you have. But you basically need to have access to online to be able to complete this, and you also need to have unlocked the Hall of Fame in game. If you don't know how to do that, I made a guide near the start of the release of this game. You can find that on my channel in the guides section. I think there's a playlist called Guides or something along them lines, or you can search for it on my channel and hopefully be able to find that, and that'll tell you how to get into the Hall of Fame if you are a new player. Also, with this being a co-op event, this means that you are on a team with up to 6 people, whether this be a team of 6 in your convoy or a team of randoms, and you'll be racing against a team of 6 driver tars. You get points by overtaking the driver tars, and the driver tars get points by overtaking you. There's 100 points for every overtake, but there's 50 points for getting into first place for either team. And the aim is for you and your team to beat the driver tires by overtaking them, thus getting more points than them and beating them in a best of 3 tournament. So the first team to 2 wins wins the tournament, and that is basically a quick summary of what the Trial involves. This week, the restriction for the Trial is B class, specifically the 2014 Ford Ute, and it'll be racing on dirt. Obviously, with there only being 1 car allowed for this, I don't need to show you any other cars, but this is my tune for the Ford FPV Limited Edition Ute, or whatever the hell it's called. Very, very long name. It's basically a British version of the HSV Maloo, but it's made in Australia. Very, very weird. Comes under the category of vans and utility. My tune uses a stock engine, stock horsepower, no weight reduction, but it does have all-wheel drive and off-road race tyres to help you tackle the dirt terrain. It's also got slightly better brakes, and overall it's much better off-road than it used to be, and hopefully then it'll be able to help you complete the Trial and overtake the driver tars. Next up, we have another co-op event. It is the seasonal playground games, and this time it is Team Flag Rush. This will get you 3 points towards the festival playlist and a 1940 Ford Coupe, and judging by the picture, this will take place at the stadium location. Again, just a quick reminder for the playground games, you'll be on a team of 6 versus a team of 6, so no driver tires involved in this one. It's 6v6 of players from across the world, and you'll be trying to beat each other by scoring flags or defending flags, whichever way around it is. And again, I believe this works in a best of 3 tournament, so whichever team gets the 2 rounds first wins the whole tournament. But even if your team loses, you'll still get the reward of the Ford Coupe and the 3 points, because the losing team still gets the reward regardless of what happens, so no need to quit if you are losing. This week, the restriction for the playground games is any Ford from A class. I'm going to be completely honest with you here, I don't really have many Fords that are tuned to A-Class specifically for playground games, so I've just had to select a couple that will be capable of playground games, obviously because you don't need to win, you don't need a massively OP car, but you don't want one that's just going to be doing donuts the whole time. So I've got the number 5 Ford Escort RS 1800, it's quite expensive, but it's using the stock engine, so it's just kind of a purist build, quite fun to drive. You can also use the 2009 Ford Focus RS, that's on rally tyres, so it's not too bad. Then you could also use the 2021 Ford Bronco, that's on off-road race tyres, lots of power, quite nimble. You could also use the 2017 Ford Focus RS, my A-Class tune for that one, that's also a pretty decent choice on off-road tyres, or of course you could use any other A-Class car that you think is more suitable to playground games than any of the ones that I've suggested there, and by the way, all of them that I've just shared are my tunes created by me, Shylo 2017. Now we can swiftly move on to the seasonal PR stunts. All 3 of them this week will get you 2 points towards the festival playlist and a super wheel spin. That seems to be the trend with the PR stunts lately. As usual, I'll be showing you the restriction, the car that I'll be using, and then I'll show you a quick clip of me completing it on the first run. So if I fail, you get to see me fail, and quite often I will fail at least one of them, but hopefully I won't this week. I want to try and break the trend. So this week there are 3 PR stunts, so I'll be showing you each of them in order as they appear in the festival playlist, and then I'll show you a quick clip of each of them just so you can see how they should be completed. First up on the PR stunt agenda is the Event Horizon danger sign. The restriction for this one, and for all of them in fact, is B-Class Ford pre-1990. I don't think that includes 1990, you could try it, but to be safe I'd include anything from 1989 or further back. The Event Horizon danger sign is on the top of the volcano but jumps towards the west down into the Baja area, and the restriction, or should I say the objective, for this one is 210 metres in your pre-1990 Ford. The car that I am going to suggest, or should I say cars that I'm going to suggest for this PR stunt, can be used for all 3 of them. Some of them will be more favoured towards 1 or 2 of the PR stunts, but hopefully all of them will be able to complete all of the PR stunts. I just thought it'd be better to show you them all now rather than do them individually for each of the challenges. So first of all we have the 1967 Ford Racing Escort Mark 1. That was made for last week's Dirt Championship, however it's got plenty of power, plenty of grip. Then we have the 1959 Ford Anglia 105E. This one's on drag tyres, so it's probably more favoured towards the speed trap that we'll come to in a minute. It's also got plenty of power. And then we also have the 1973 Ford Escort RS 1600, which again has got plenty of power from the rally engine, and also is on rally suspension, so it's going to be better for this PR stunt and one of the others as well. So they are the options for this week's seasonal PR stunts. To make sure that we get a big enough run up, I've started quite far along this road here, to make sure that we get enough speed before we jump off the danger sign so that I don't have to redo it. However, we'll hopefully see that it will be enough, although likely it won't be. So full speed ahead, heading off the danger sign at approximately 120 miles an hour. And hopefully we'll be able to get it completed. 191 metres. So as per usual, I've failed the first PR stunt, and thus I will have to go and get another 18 metres. Okay, so after a slightly longer run up and hitting it at about 127, 128 miles an hour, I was able to complete the Event Horizon danger sign, and we can move on to the next PR stunt. Speaking of which, the next PR stunt is the Estadio Speed Trap. Again, same restriction and same reward, but this time the objective is 140 miles an hour, and it'll be on the road, so we'll be heading on into the Ford Anglia with drag tyres to get some more speed for this challenge. Okay then, hoping to have learnt my lesson from the last one, I'm taking quite a long run up for this one to make sure that we definitely get enough speed, and I hope, with fingers crossed, that it's going to be enough to be able to get this challenge completed. The annoying thing is that with me being on drag tyres, it's going to be very difficult to get round to that corner there. As you can see, it understeers like an absolute boat, so I'm hoping to cut across the grass, carry as much speed as possible, and then use that speed down the hill here. That guy's definitely much faster there in his Mustang. 133 miles an hour, not bad for a first attempt, but as it turns out, a Mustang is definitely much better for this one, so we might end up having to change car again. Okay, and following the Mustang driver's run up from the field there, I was able to achieve 141 miles an hour with lots of momentum and a slight bit of luck going down the hill there, and that completes the Estadio speed trap. And finally, to wrap up the fails of the PR stunts, we have the Puerto Patria Trailblazer. Same reward, same restriction, but this time the objective is to have 22 seconds left on the clock by the time we reach the finish line, which, as you can see, is located on that dirt road there. As you can see at the bottom middle, right middle of your screen. For this one, I have chosen to go with the Stobar Escort from 1967 because it has the best grip using its off-road tyres, and I believe that it'll be the best to execute this route. So we just full send it through, and then we aim for the road down here, and we take the bridge across using the road, and straight after the bridge there'll be a gap in the trees on the left which we'll be able to cut through, and hopefully then we'll be able to find our way to the finish line. So hang over to the right, cut in through this gap in the trees, hopefully the car will grip, then we find the gap in the rocks, and we go through here, we go just to the right of this massive ball shape, then we send it through here, try not to smack into there, that wasn't particularly appreciated, and so we'll try not to smack into there on this second attempt. So not smack into there, send it through there, then we just find the gap through here. Preferably don't hit that, but it's not going to matter because we know we've got enough time, and then send it through the finish line, and I got 26.5 seconds left on the clock. If I hadn't had a bit of a scrappy run there, I would have had about 30 seconds left on the clock, so it proves that this, with the correct route and a decently tuned car, is far easier than the other ones to complete. Next up, we have the seasonal championships, and as usual, these can be completed in solo or in co-op. If you're doing them in solo, you need to drive or fast travel to each of the 3 races that are marked out at the start of each championship, and at the end of the 3 races, you'll need to have more points than the driver tires. So you don't necessarily have to win all 3 of them, but you need to have more points than all of the driver tires at the end. And if you're doing it in co-op with some convoy mates, it'll automatically fast travel you to each of the races in the order it selects. But all you need to do is beat the driver tires in the same format as the trial by overtaking them and beating them in a best of 3 championship. First up this week is the 4x4 Seasonal Championship, which will get you 5 points towards the festival playlist, and a 2014 Ford Ute, which of course you can use for the trial. And the restriction for this one is C-Class Ford pickups and 4x4s on dirt racing. For this championship, I only have one suggestion, and that is the 2011 Ford F-150 SVT Raptor. It uses 542 horsepower from the 6.2 litre V8. It isn't great to drive because it understeers quite a lot, but it's got plenty of power, which will hopefully help you to overtake the driver tires and thus help you to complete the championship. This tune is shared under my gamertag Shylo 2017 if you so wish to use it. Next up on the championship agenda is the Superstar and Hatch Seasonal Championship, which is road racing and will get you 5 points towards the festival playlist and a 2003 Ford Focus. For this one, you'll need a B700 Ford Hot Hatch or Super Hot Hatch, not Retro Hot Hatch. For this one, I do have a few suggestions, and they are the 2003 Ford Focus RS, which of course you get as a reward, but if you do already own it, which you probably do, then you can use this. It's got rally tyres, so it's plenty grippy, however it does lack in top speed and power, so it will only be it'll only be good on the circuits where you can full send it around the corners. But if you want in a bit of a slightly better option, then we have the 2017 Ford Focus RS, which, even though it's tuned for rally racing, has off-road race tyres which are grippy enough on the road, especially in the wet conditions of the storm season. It has plenty of power and overall is a much better car than the 2003 Ford Focus, so hopefully you'll be able to use that and complete the championship. The final championship and the final event of the seasonal event section is the Caprese Does It Seasonal Championship, which again is road racing, but which will get you 5 points towards the festival playlist and a 2018 Ford Mustang, and the restriction for this one is specifically the D500 1973 Ford Capri RS 3100. Obviously, you can only use the 1973 Ford Capri, so there's no point to be going into too much detail. However, I'd just like to mention this car is quite expensive in the auto show, 55,000 credits, and my tune keeps it rear wheel drive, and it also has the stock power, but it does have a bit of extra grip from the rear wing. It has some wider tyres, some slightly better brakes, and a few other bits and bobs to help make the car a bit better. It's not a particularly great car because I only had 3 PI to work with. However, hopefully it'll be able to help you complete the championship, and basically it'll be a level playing field anyway because there's not really much you can do with the car. This week we only have one event in the challenges section, and that is the photo challenge #Forzathon, which wants you to photograph the 2014 Ford Fiesta ST at the Gran Puente Bridge. That is the bridge at the south of the map, on the road that kind of runs down the bottom with all the windy tunnels. And doing this will get you 2 points towards the festival playlist and a wheel spin. So again, all you need to do is hop in your 2014 Ford Fiesta ST, regardless of whether it's painted or tuned or whatever. Just head onto the bridge, open up photo mode and take a picture of the bridge and your car, and that will complete the photo challenge. The next section is the monthly event section, and as suggested by the name, this spans across the month, so regardless of which season you complete them in, the points will be added onto all of the other seasons and onto the series total. So for both of these there are 4 points towards the series, which in total is 8 points, and that will be split by 4 to add a total to each week's season total. So each week you'll get 1 point added on for each of them, so in total that will be 2 points each week and 8 points in this series, if that makes sense. For both of these, of course, we have the BF Goodrich Ford number 14 Rahal Latterman Fiesta at the Horizon Baja Scramble, and the Ford Mustang Mach-E 1400 at the Emerald Circuit. You need to post a clean lap to complete, which means that you don't hit walls, you don't rewind, you don't miss checkpoints, etc. If your lap has a flag next to it or an exclamation mark inside a box, that means it's dirty. You'll probably see that pop up throughout the lap. If you do one of those things I've just mentioned, it'll say lap flagged because of you basically don't want that. So if it means that you drive around really slow, just make sure you get a clean lap, then hit quit. Absolutely fine. You don't need to beat your rival, you just need to post a clean lap for it to complete in the festival playlist. Finally, to wrap up the Autumn Storm season, we have the Hot Wheels events. Of course, these are only available to those who own the Hot Wheels expansion, so if you don't own the Hot Wheels expansion and you're still going for the 100% achievement, it'll recognise that you don't own the expansion and thus you don't have access to these challenges. It'll deduct the points from the Hot Wheels events, and then if you completed all the other events in the festival playlist across the series, it will then allow you to have the 100% achievement. Of course, this expansion, if you're wanting to buy it, it's available as part of the premium add-ons bundle or as to purchase separately from the Microsoft Store. This week's Hot Wheels seasonal PR stunt is the Canyon Fire Danger Sign, 2 points in the Super Wheel Spin, and the same restriction as the main map PR stunt, so you use one of the 3 cars that I used for the seasonal PR stunts on the main map and you'll be able to complete this, hopefully. And the final event of this week's festival playlist is the Shaking the Trees Seasonal Championship, which is on hazard events. It will get you 5 points towards the festival playlist and a Ford Bronco. I presume that's the 1975 version. And the restriction for this one is A-Class Ford Modern Muscle. For this one, I probably just suggest using the 2018 Ford Mustang GT because it's all-wheel drive, pretty grippy, and thus it'll be alright on the hazard events of the Hot Wheels expansion. That wraps it up for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do apologise if this video is a bit longer than usual. I think I did get a bit carried away at the start of the video, but I kind of pulled myself together towards the end and made sure that I didn't go too much over the time schedule. But thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate the support, guys. As I said at the start of the video, I don't mention it too often, but if you could like and subscribe to the channel, that'd be massively appreciated. It'll help you keep updated with the videos that I post. I'll be starting the Eliminator series hopefully this weekend. Just need to do the thumbnail for the first video and then it will be out. It's already uploaded to YouTube, but it's currently on private, so once I've done the thumbnail I'll make it public, and then that'll be the start of the Eliminator series, and that series will run for a number of weeks and months while I think of other ideas to do. And if you've got any ideas, then of course do feel free to leave them in the comments. Might not be able to do them anytime soon, but I'll always take them into account for future videos and series on the channel. So again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and that is it. Bye!